Hello guys, my name's Colin and this is Colin Talks Crypto. The end game for crypto will be a closed loop crypto economy in which both the earning and spending of cryptocurrency are done. In such a system, one never needs to use fiat. This is how Bitcoin and cryptocurrency are peaceful, passive protests against the state that rules via fiat and tax. We're going to talk about that as well as first mover advantages. Thanks for joining me. I wanted to talk about a topic that came up and that I got kind of fired up on, and it's been a passion of mine for many, many years, really as long as I've been in the crypto space, and that is the subject of why are we in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, and what is really the end game. I haven't really talked about this much on my channel, and I did want to touch upon this, the end game for crypto and how I see it playing out. So, as you can see in this tweet, I feel that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency are passive protests against the state. Now, how is that the case? And this may be never more fitting of a topic than right now when we have protesting and rioting going on across the world, especially in America. Rightly or wrongly, we're not going to get into all of that because we each have our own opinions on that. But one thing's for sure, we do not live in a perfect world. The government is not doing a perfect job. And I don't know that it ever will do a perfect job. It's really difficult to please everybody, but I think that we can do better. And as Peter Schiff recently tweeted, America dropped from first place in prosperity to about 15th place. And that's a pretty big kick in the pants and the pride of America, which is supposed to be this great, great nation. And here it is dropping to 15th place. And so how is Bitcoin and cryptocurrency a peaceful and passive protest against the state? Well, if you think about it, how does the state rule? How does it garner its power? Everything comes back to money ultimately, money and military force. But even military force is guided and controlled by money. So really, he who controls the money supply cares not for the laws of the people. And that was my paraphrase of a quote from Rothschild, just to show the extent with which money's power can reach. Really, it can do anything when it is utterly controlled. And that is the system that we live in today with the Federal Reserve printing endless amounts of money, as they shamelessly claim now, because they have to save the economy. So there's no more beating around the bush by the fact that they can print endless amounts of money and they have unlimited asset purchasing abilities. They actually tout this as a feature. And as many of you would probably agree, I would not tout this as a feature. I would tout this as a great, great shortcoming in a failure to have a free market economy. And by being able to print money supply on a whim and buy unlimited assets, you are completely removing the ability for there to be a free market economy. And we do not have a free market economy in America today. I don't think that we have for a long time, but it's really, really coming to the forefront and becoming more obvious than ever before. Because right now, when we have massive amounts of unemployment and protesting, rioting, and just an enormous amount of problems, not to mention lockdown on the back of a coronavirus, you paint that picture and you would think that probably the economy is not doing as great as it could be. Well, when you look at the stock market, it paints a completely opposite picture of what one might expect. And we have a crash back in March and basically a rebound since then, all the way back to new all-time highs. And that doesn't make sense. And I think that anyone with two brain cells to put together realizes that that does not make sense. This economy is, as I called it, an insane economy. It is acting and behaving irrationally. It is not following a free market economy. It is following completely whimsical decisions by the government to prop it up by any means necessary, and that includes unlimited asset purchases, unlimited money printing, and basically just complete 100% market manipulation. And that's why even though things like the Tesla stock, and I love Tesla, are shooting upwards, I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. I wouldn't touch anything in the stock market with a 10-foot pole because it's a debt-based economy and these are debt-based assets. The dollar is a debt-based instrument and stocks are simply derivatives off of a debt-based instrument such as the dollar, and I won't have any of that. So I basically for the past 7 years have made it my goal to hold as little fiat as possible. When I get some money, I put it into crypto. Cryptocurrency to me is the escape vehicle from this madness that we see and that we are seeing increasingly, especially in 2020, when we have the most amount of money being printed ever before. And that's to be expected. It's an exponential heroin addict problem. You know, at first you need one shot, and then you need 2 shots to maintain the high. Well, now we're at 4 shots and 8 shots, and it keeps doubling, 16 shots. And one could convert the number of heroin shots into trillions of dollars, 1 trillion, 2 trillion, 4 trillion, 8 trillion, 16 trillion. And thus we have the beginning stages of what will eventually become an inevitable hyperinflation. And that is simply the case with the history of any fiat currency basically being relegated to worthlessness because it becomes unpegged from gold if it ever was pegged to gold. And those in control of the money will print it endlessly and devalue it endlessly. And so that's what I recognized as the truth that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency have to offer in face of such a corrupt system, that for some reason humanity is so stupid that it repeats the same mistakes over and over. And maybe it's not stupidity. Maybe it's to play devil's advocate. Maybe it's intelligent individuals using it corruptly. Just because someone is intelligent doesn't mean that they're necessarily honest, as we saw with the likes of Hitler, who was probably a brilliant man, but he used it for such evil, evil purposes. And look what he did to the world and did to himself and his country. And so I think that that has been recognized by those who are willing to be dishonest, unethical, and just basically bad human beings. And they use the money supply against the rest of the human population in deceptive and deceitful ways, knowing that they will likely get away with it because it has worked historically and it likely will work again. And so that is what the whole fractional reserve banking system is based upon. That is what unlimited asset printing is based upon. And that is what an inflationary debt-based monetary system is based upon. It's based upon fooling and deceiving and tricking people. Less than 1% benefits from such a model, but that 1% is imposing the suffering and the loss of purchasing power and the loss of all of our blood, sweat, and tears for their benefit alone. And the problem with this system, just to circle back into how Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is a peaceful, passive protest against such a system and such a atrocity, is that if you were to try to go up against that 1% with all the military might you could muster, you could formulate the largest militia of America and try to take over the country. And you may or may not have success. You would probably lose a lot of lives and a lot of blood would be spilt and shed. And that is what I think is the unfortunate outcome of every past attempt to fix this problem. People have been killed for this. Anyone who stands up for this, like JFK, has been shot. So you can't go directly up against the system. You can't combat it directly because they have more money and they have more resources. They have the ability to print unlimited resources. They have the ability to fund unlimited wars and to kill unlimited numbers of people, just so long as these very unethical, inhumane people and elite, this less than 1%, just so long as they are able to keep their power, they are willing to do those things. And I'm only saying that because history has showed that to be the case. It's insane for many of us to think, many of us who are good people, who are honest people, who do want a better place and a better world for everyone, a more fair and equitable money. And those of us are the majority. But those of us who are the majority cannot directly attack the minority because the scale is so tipped in the favor financially of the minority, this elite, that were we to do so, an enormous number of lives would be lost, and it would be a war, a civil war, an international war, some kind of a war, and that results in deaths. And that's not necessarily always the wrong decision, because if it results in a better outcome, sometimes that's worth fighting for. Sometimes it does take some sacrifice to come out with a better outcome. But with the advent of Bitcoin in 2009 by Satoshi Nakamoto, we have opened up a new option in how we can regain control of our money supply and thus our future freedoms and reducing the shackles of our enslavement. Because Bitcoin does not require us to grab a gun, grab a pitchfork, and go up against that almost undefeatable might of the state. And because the might of the state is almost unsurmountable, its resources are essentially unlimited, as they're boasting, you have to take another approach. And until 2009, we did not have another approach. But Satoshi has gifted to us the greatest invention mankind has possibly ever seen. We've had things like fire, which allows us to fuel systems and create warmth. We've had the invention of the wheel, which makes more efficient travel. We've had email and cell phones, which allow us to communicate at greater lengths than ever before. But never before have we had a technology that has allowed us to peaceably and passively oppose the state, and there's nothing that they can say or do about it. And I'll put a little asterisk there because some of you might think, well, what if they simply ban Bitcoin? The government of a country could very well ban Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, but it's only a temporary slow, and an otherwise unstoppable march toward freedom. And let's use BitTorrent as the analogy of what Bitcoin is doing right now, because they operate on similar technology of distributed ledger technology, distributed file technology. Before the advent of BitTorrent, we had Napster, and Napster was a file sharing service. We also had things like LimeWire, and there were other MP3 music sharing services and movie sharing services, but they got shut down due to piracy. And what happened is a new technology was created. That technology was called BitTorrent, which then distributed the files not from one computer, but that same file was distributed in part or in whole amongst a slew of thousands of computers. And that way it was impossible to stop it, because the way that Napster was stopped is you shut down that server, you shut down the company. There was a central point of control. There was a central point of authority controlling Napster. And the government can always step in and shut down either the bank accounts or the business, or threat of violence to throw in jail any business that it wishes. Anything that it views goes against its best interests, it will take down. And that is why I don't feel that the government has the best interests of the people at heart. The government should serve the people, but that's not how it works. The people are serving the government in its current form. The people are the sheep, and they're the farmers. They are the peasants to this elite government, self-fulfilling technocracy, which is ever more becoming a technocracy as we move forward, meaning that politicians don't so much control things as do the technical elites and the scientists, and technology controls things. And we're starting to see that ever more with things like Facebook and Google surveillance and selling our private data and tracking our whereabouts through our social media platforms and things of this nature. And so Bitcoin is a peaceful, passive protest against what otherwise is an unstoppable beast and historically has never been able to be stopped. So in the exact same way that BitTorrent thwarts government attempts to stop it, Bitcoin thwarts government attempts to stop it. They can ban it all they want. It'll be present in every other country except that country that banned it. You would require a simultaneous ban of every single country on Earth, and that won't happen. You'll have some countries that are going to take the opportunity to avail themselves of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency to spite and in the face of countries that might seek to ban it, like India, or maybe someday the US will try to ban cryptocurrency because it finally deems it as a worthwhile opponent and threat to its fiat monopoly. And it will have a slowdown effect, but it will not stop it, exactly like BitTorrent to this day has not been stopped. So that's the rebuttal to anyone that says that the government could stop Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies. In my opinion, it's merely a speed bump in a much grander scheme of things. If you recall from my previous videos, I really like to look at the big picture always. I don't look at week, month, or day trading. I look at year-long trades, and I look at the effects and the social implications on a many-year basis and a decades basis, because to me, that's the big picture, and it irons out all the short-term noise. I like to look at the big-term picture because that's where we're heading. I want to know where we're going in 10 years, 20 years, 50 years from now. And everything that I'm telling you right now is how I see it playing out during the next 10, 20, and 50 years. I see us having the ultimate end game for crypto, which is a closed loop economy, which means that people will increasingly begin to accept payment for their work in cryptocurrencies, and then they will turn around and buy things that they need in cryptocurrencies. And that's what I mean by a closed loop economy. And we do have that in very small amounts around the world right now. I'm aware of in Australia, in Northeast Australia, in Queensland, they have Bitcoin Cash City. And you'll see on this map of Australia that they have quite a few Bitcoin Cash accepting regions. but especially the Northeast, with 78 merchants accepting Bitcoin Cash. And that's just one example of one specific cryptocurrency that accepts Bitcoin Cash in a region. So they are among the first to spearhead this movement of a closed loop economy. And I think that that's a really commendable endeavor. And just to read this to you here, it says, North Queensland is home to a large number of Bitcoin Cash supporters and merchants who accept Bitcoin Cash for goods and services. So if you want to live the closed loop crypto lifestyle, then perhaps the northeast corner of Australia is a good option for you on the short term. Now I'm going to give you another example. This is Akon. Akon is a famous rapper and singer about 10 years ago, and he amassed about $80 million being a famous rap star. And so he has finalized the deal to build a cryptocurrency city in the city of Senegal, which is in Africa. And essentially what he's going to do is create a cryptocurrency called Akoin. And this is not a joke. This is really true. He's going to create a cryptocurrency named Akoin, and that proprietary cryptocurrency is going to be integrated in all African countries as a whole. And so he's attempting to create a future for these Africans that have worse off living conditions than many of the first world countries. And so that's incredible and that's awesome, and I wish him all the success. He got about, I think it was $4 billion approved to build this city, and it's going to be all futuristic architecture and design, and it's going to be opening over the next 10-year period. So from 2020 to 2030, that's when it will be being built. And just to read from this article, this is a 2,000-acre cryptocurrency-powered city in Senegal. The project was first announced in 2018, and the smart city will rise near the capital of Dakar on a plot gifted to Akon by President Macky Sall. So the president recognized probably the opportunity that this innovation could do for the country, and so the president gifted him 2,000 acres to Akon to build this land. And then Akon got the backing from investors for billions of dollars to fund the actual development of this plan. As you can see, Akon's $80 million would not be enough to build a multi-billion-dollar city, but he has the support. And in one of his tweets, he talked about how he just has the ideas, but he has the nerds put it into action. So he's a thinker, not a doer so much. I think he's sort of the face to the project. He's the name brand, and they're using him because he's from Senegal, Africa. And so he's a perfect face to have on this city, but others are building it, and it's a collaborative effort. So I just wanted to share those two examples with you. We had the North Queensland Bitcoin Cash city, and we have the Akon city using Akoin. Now I wanted to touch upon another topic about this, which is how I see it truly playing out. While I commend Akon for creating his own currency in the future, and it is on CoinMarketCap and it hasn't been distributed yet, if you're curious and you want to take a look at Akoin on CoinMarketCap. But currencies like Akoin and Bitcoin Cash, I don't think that this is going to necessarily be how the future unfolds with closed loop crypto economies. How I see it unfolding is an ever increasing linkage between blockchains, utilizing things like liquid apps, Chainlink, and other services that interconnect all the blockchains into a more accessible mesh for people. And so we won't have these little segregated cities where it's only one cryptocurrency, because to be honest, that really doesn't make a lot of sense when all that infrastructure can easily be migrated into adopting other cryptocurrencies, and you can shift one coin to another coin. It doesn't need to be all about only having one coin for one city or one nation. And we can use all of the cryptocurrencies together to accomplish a closed loop crypto economy. And some cryptocurrencies will have a greater market cap and adoption than others, and that will just be the natural evolution of it. It could be Bitcoin is number one for a while, maybe Ethereum is number one for a while, maybe something else in 10 or 20 years becomes number one. And it's okay because we can always shift digitally between these currencies instantaneously to receive our payments and to buy what we need to live our lives. And so I see that being an ever-evolving landscape. I don't know that Bitcoin will always be number one. If it is, okay, that's fine. We are talking about digital programmable currencies here. We're not talking about government-enforced fiat. And so there's a lot more freedom and flexibility that I see for our future crypto closed-loop economies. So what I think we will start to see increasingly in the years and decades to come are regions of the planet and cities whereby all cryptocurrencies are accepted, because why not welcome with open arms all cryptocurrencies? In the end, despite our tribalism and maximalism sometimes, we are all fighting the same fight. And I think that sometimes we fail to remember that. We are all looking at the same future. We are all trying to solve that same problem that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. And just to circle back around, in such a system, one never needs to use fiat. This is how Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is a peaceful, passive protest against the state that rules via forceful fiat and enforced taxation. And let's get into why is Bitcoin and crypto a peaceful, passive protest. If you haven't put it together already, there are no guns in crypto. There are no pitchforks in crypto. There is no militia in crypto. It is a digital currency. And as such, we can accumulate value into cryptocurrency that takes away from the fiat legacy system. And that is how it all starts, and that is how it all ends. Because every dollar that each one of us takes from the fiat legacy system and converts it into Bitcoin, Ethereum, EOS, Litecoin, whatever, you name it, into cryptocurrency is a dollar that the legacy fiat purchasing power loses. And so their currency will increasingly become worthless as cryptocurrency increasingly gains in value. So long as more and more participants convert dollars into cryptocurrency, and so long as the total market cap for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies continues to climb, that means only one thing. That value is being siphoned out of the fiat and legacy systems. So right now we have a very small couple hundred of billion total market cap valuation for cryptocurrencies, and I think the governments haven't seen it coming. Well, they're going to get slapped across the face as soon as Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies surpass trillions and then tens of trillions of dollars of total market cap. And all that means is that the fiat currencies around the world are increasingly worthless, while the alternative safe haven assets of gold, silver, and cryptocurrencies are increasingly worth more and more. So guys, that's how I see it playing out in the future when it comes to Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and our long-term game plan. We are all in this together. And any of you who are so maximalist that you are blinded to that you would attack other cryptocurrencies and call them shitcoins and think that your currency is the only one that can ever work, I really beg you to watch this video again and just understand that we are in this together for a much bigger purpose than simply fattening your pocketbook. And if that's all that you can see, I call that truly greedy and selfish, because you're not looking at the bigger picture. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with making a quick buck or making a positive investment. That's the great thing about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, because it simultaneously allows us a peaceful, passive protest against the abusive governments around the world, while simultaneously allowing us an investment opportunity that I consider personally, speaking for myself only and not financial advice, to be one of the greatest, if not the greatest, investment opportunity of my lifetime. Cryptocurrency and Bitcoin is a huge, huge wealth transfer, and if you don't get it, you will get it in the future. But please don't be so blinded and so maximalist to shoot your fellow brethren just because they support a cryptocurrency that you don't personally hold. I think that shows a very narrow-minded person. If you want to know my true feelings on this subject, that's what I think. So if you're out there saying that everyone's a shitcoin and you're the only one because you support Bitcoin or whatever your one only cryptocurrency can be, I'm sorry to say, but I think you're narrow-minded. But maybe that's just because you haven't gotten the bigger picture. And so I hope that this video can help enlighten you to that possibility, because we do need to all stand together. Cryptocurrency as a total is a $200 billion market cap, and I'm being generous right now. And so why should we partition ourselves and splinter ourselves into groups that subdivide and hate against each other when we are already subdivided and fighting against the bigger government behemoth that takes advantage of us with enforced tax enslavement and abuse of money with unlimited money printing. So guys, we are together. We are united. We are the cryptocurrency movement. We are one force. And whether I hold EOS and you hold Cardano, or whether I hold Bitcoin and you hold Litecoin, it's okay. Maybe I have my favorites. That's fine. But just know that we are all on the same journey together. It doesn't mean I have the right to call someone stupid or an idiot for holding a currency that I don't hold. It just means that I should convince them with logical arguments why perhaps the technology of what I see is perhaps superior to what they see. not because I want them to feel stupid, not because I want them to be wrong, but because I want them to be making the right decision as much as possible, because we are all in this together. This is a great uplifting of us all, where we all unite. This is not a battle to take out the other person. And so that's how I see it, guys. I see this as a big positive movement. I was going to do another section of this video talking about the differences between Ethereum and EOS, but I think I'm going to save that for my next video because this has gotten so insanely long already, and I want to keep this on one topic. So thank you very much for watching this video. Please like, subscribe, share, hit that bell icon. Please get this video out there. Please spread the word of what we are doing, and please spread the word of how Bitcoin and crypto is a peaceful, passive protest against the state that is taking advantage of us all in 2020 and beyond. Have a great day.